Hello and welcome to another episode of Greenfleet Talks. My name's Kate Armitage and I'm your host for our discussion today. I'm delighted to be joined by Michael Burford, Engineering Manager at Fuel Cell Systems. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Kate.
Today, Michael and I are discussing hydrogen vehicles and crucially refueling solutions. Michael, by way of introduction, can you please tell me a bit about Fuel Cell Systems and what you do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I joined Fuel Cell Systems about 6 months ago, and we have been one of the key companies to place fuel cells onto the UK market over the last 10 to 15 years. So that started mostly with methanol fuel cells. And as the hydrogen fuel cell sector began to develop, we began to supply more and more hydrogen fuel cells as well. But we kept coming across the issue of where to get the hydrogen from. So our founder decided to take that as a challenge and develop our own solutions for hydrogen production, hydrogen refueling, and to actually enable companies out there to use hydrogen fuel cells by providing them with a refueling solution.
Great, thank you. And how important for our audience today, how important would you say hydrogen is in helping fleets reduce their vehicle emissions and ultimately become net zero?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting time at the moment. We're in a position where our entire energy and transportation sectors need to break their dependence on fossil fuels to achieve net zero. And we're beginning to see the fragmentation of these industries into a multitude of technologies, and they can all play a part. So hydrogen is a key technology here for a number of reasons, and it has a number of advantages over battery electric vehicles, which still play an enormously important part in reducing emissions. And while both deliver zero tailpipe emissions, it takes an enormous amount of electricity to charge a battery electric vehicle, and it takes a significantly long time, and the range on battery electric vehicles is very much limited, particularly when it comes to the larger vehicles, larger commercial and transportation vehicles. So electric drivetrains that are powered by hydrogen fuel cells have an increased range. They take a shorter time to refuel compared to their battery equivalents, and it's a much more suitable fuel or propulsion source for heavier vehicles and for fleet operations. It can also work hand in hand with renewable electricity generation, which is another really key area for achieving net zero, by using surplus electricity during periods of low demand to produce and store energy in the form of hydrogen gas, which can be used to refuel fleet vehicles quickly when required. So given sufficient hydrogen refueling infrastructure, fleet operators are able to fill up vehicles either in depot or from filling stations en route, as they would currently, or both. So hydrogen is a particularly attractive solution for vehicles that require a longer independent range. And for these reasons, it means that hydrogen can offer a close user experience in comparison to diesel vehicles and the solutions that people have been used to for so long.
Great. Okay, I get it. So, I mean, what we're saying is that this hydrogen technology is in no way competing with battery electric vehicles. They're effectively cousins, and very similar in many ways in that they both can utilize renewable electricity. But crucially, these hydrogen fuel cell vehicles are tackling a segment of the market that battery electric vehicles are not so efficient at. So the bigger vehicles and the ones that require the longer range, as you said, much more akin to what we expect from diesel vehicles today.
Exactly, yes, exactly.
Could you give me a flavour of some of the hydrogen vehicle solutions that are on the roads today, and how can fuel cell systems support fleets with the hydrogen refueling?
Sure. So when it comes to hydrogen fuel cells, we are seeing an increasing number of buses. Now, buses are a great example of where hydrogen can be successfully deployed, because typically there'll be a fleet of buses that go out during the day and perform their function, come back to a central depot where they're stored overnight, worked on, cleaned, etc., and refueled, ready for deployment the following day. So in the same sense that they're currently refueled with diesel, having a hydrogen refueling solution in a depot makes it a very practical solution for buses. So we're seeing an increased number of hydrogen buses enter the market, but also things like delivery vehicles, road sweepers, those kind of heavier duty vehicles that are making use of hydrogen fuel cells. There's also a solution whereby hydrogen is used as an additional fuel in a diesel combustion engine, which we've seen a number of vehicles such as road sweepers and vans go for that solution, which helps to move away from fossil fuels and cleans up diesel emissions, but gives us a stepping stone onto what we'd like to see, which is zero emission vehicles in the form of hydrogen fuel cell vehicles.
That's interesting. So it's a hybrid technology where people still have the reassurance of the diesel that they know and understand, but and also an opportunity to operate hydrogen vehicles.
Yes, and at the same time, the hydrogen acts as almost an after treatment solution to a diesel combustion vehicle. So it reduces the emissions, reduces the pollutants that are emitted by the vehicle. So it's really a win-win at this stage.
That's really, really interesting, Michael. There seems to be quite a strong focus at the moment on battery electric recharging infrastructure. Does the government funding for hydrogen refueling infrastructure go far enough? And what more would you like to see?
Yeah, so I think we can all see that it's been an easy, quick win for the deployment of electric vehicles, particularly passenger light duty electric vehicles. I myself have an electric car and I can plug it into my socket at home, so there's electricity already there, and most businesses can have an option to upgrade and provide refueling for a small number of vehicles. Now we're talking about larger vehicles and lots of them in a fleet, that becomes unsustainable. So the funding that's been available to date for hydrogen vehicles, hydrogen refueling solutions, it's all been very fragmented. So there are funding streams available for hydrogen vehicle powertrains, for example. 54 million was announced not so long ago for companies to develop those. More recently, there was a large funding call for low carbon hydrogen supply, because a lot of the hydrogen that's been on the market to date has come from industrial processes. It's considered not green in the same sense. So they're trying to encourage greener supply of hydrogen. But again, it seems to exclude refueling infrastructure, which is the key element to bring these two together and actually make it work. So what we need is a more coordinated approach when it comes to funding, so that everyone along the hydrogen supply chain can benefit from the support it needs to get us out of this kind of rut of we need the vehicles to justify the refueling solution, we need the refueling solutions to justify the vehicles, and just help lift us out of that so we can all develop and move forward.
It's definitely definitely a chicken and egg situation, and I'm very pleased that you mentioned the need for green hydrogen, because of course that's makes a substantial contribution to that decarbonisation. I'm going to. I know your solution is very much geared on depot recharging and private, more affordable hydrogen refueling. But it comes up in conversation time and time again. What about the public hydrogen refueling situation at the moment? Can we expect to see more?
I certainly hope so. So as it stands, I believe there are 11 refueling stations in the entire of the UK, and of those, many are kind of clustered in certain areas. So long distance driving on hydrogen becomes a significant challenge at this particular point in time. When you look at Germany, for example, they aim to have 100 refueling stations across Germany by the end of 2021, and in quite a carefully planned route, if you like, to enable fleet operators to be able to refuel along key routes in the country. I'd like to see a similar approach within the UK to that approach that the Germans have taken.
I totally agree, and I think one of the more obvious points is because these hydrogen vehicles do have a longer range, and because the refueling is so much quicker, you actually don't need as many hydrogen public refueling stations across the whole of the UK as you would with, for example, battery electric infrastructure. So yeah, I guess it's a watch this space, but it's certainly part of breaking that chicken and egg cycle of what comes first, the vehicles or the infrastructure. Just one last question, Michael. What would you say to fleets that are interested in trialing hydrogen?
I would say don't be put off by the lack of public refueling infrastructure. What we're now seeing, particularly over the last year, is a huge increase in inquiries from UK-based companies that operate their own fleets to provide them with a solution so that they can begin to bring hydrogen vehicles on board. So our objective at Fuel Cell Systems is to deploy equipment that meets the hydrogen need of the customer and enable them to trial hydrogen on a small scale first at a suitable location or their own depot. So we deliver hydrogen in the correct quantity, purity, pressure, and location to fulfill our customers' requirements. Our newest product, which we call the High Cube, is modular. It's redeployable, so it can be lifted, put on the back of a transporter, and taken to whichever site our customers need. And that allows them to start small, but with the opportunity to scale up that solution over time to meet an increasing demand in an affordable way.
That's great, Michael. And the key here is you don't have to think about multi-million-pound infrastructure. You can start small, get a taste for how it works, and build up your capacity gradually. Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, and we even have mobile refueling solutions. So we can basically, we've converted trucks to house a number of hydrogen cylinders, and that enables us to bring the hydrogen to the customer for projects, and we've done that a number of times. We recently supported an automotive OEM in the development of their hydrogen fuel cell vehicle up in northern Sweden for cold climate. So wherever you are in Europe, across the world, we can provide a solution for your hydrogen refueling needs.
Is it a great opportunity to try before you buy?
Absolutely, that's right.
Right. That is about all we've got time for, Michael. It has been a pleasure talking to you. Hydrogen fuel cell and battery electric technologies are complementary in many ways, with hydrogen providing that high energy density and very quick refueling times to support larger vehicles and longer journeys. Companies like Fuel Cell Systems are developing affordable refueling solutions that will support hydrogen fleets. Thank you, Michael, and Fuel Cell Systems for joining Greenfleet Talks. And thank you for watching. Please tune in to Greenfleet 365 again soon.